Hey pals, welcome back to another episode with your pals, the pullboxpals.
Wow, how many times can you say pals in an intro?
I was trying. That's why I got stuck there. I was like, how can I throw this in a fourth time? And then I paused too long, gave you time to talk, which is a great thing because you can say, and this is my buddy Mad, but I first have to say this is my buddy Monk, my pal. Monk.
There you go. I was just gonna say that's how you could have said it a fourth time.
I should
introducing.
I blew it.
We'll
the
get
intro.
Hey, next week is episode 50. Maybe that'll be where we finally stop calling each other buddy and start calling each other pal. If only there was.
We just might do it.
Maybe we would comic book buddies. Well, I like pool box pals better though, because I like a pool box. I love my pool box.
I think it flows a little better.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, how many? I mean, I don't know. I do genuinely.
It's too many syllables to do buddy. Pull box buddies. That's just one syllable too many. It's got to be 3 syllables.
Or comic book buddies.
Because there's 2 of us, and we fit in the gaps between the 2 words.
I focus more on the pool box. I love a good pool box.
And then between us is comics. That's the pyramid there.
Yeah, like literally, if you look at this logo right here, if for those of you watching, there's a pool box between us. Wow,
exactly. Yeah.
And I guess technically between us, because we are on either sides of the country. I guess you're this way, because that's north. So you're this way. Hi, and there's a lot of comics in between me and you. I would imagine.
Did you just wave at somebody?
Yeah, you across the country.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Are you looking east?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, we did it.
The direction. Yeah, that is correct. East is over this way.
Wow, we did it. We just waved across the country at each other. Yeah. I think we just set some sort of record. I don't know what it would be.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what kind of record that would be. But anyways, how's your week been?
My week has been long and rough. Like I've been having a rough week at work, with a lot of stuff going on. So it's like
you had a long weekend, right?
I also had a long weekend. I played a show down in Philly, which actually went really, really well. I wanted to promote it on here. I forgot, but if you ever want to check me out music wise, check out Churches and Trains on Instagram. I always post about my shows there.
It's like folk punk.
Folk punk. Yep, that's the genre that I get put into. I've been playing our stuff's been sounding a lot more bluesy lately, so I feel like because the guys that I get to play my backup band essentially, they play very bluesies. Yeah, me too. Yeah. But yeah, so I did that. My girlfriend went to the Taylor Swift concert that was also happening in Philly. There was more of a turnout at the Taylor Swift show than at my folk punk backyard fundraiser. But it was a great time. About that? Yeah, I mean, just because it wasn't
it. Yeah, because it was in a stadium that fits 60,000 people. I think
65,000. Yeah,
and 65,000. And did she play 3 nights in a row there?
Yeah, and there were people in the parking lots. So
so
that's very impressive.
That's very impressive.
I mean, I probably played at this show was probably one of the biggest audiences I've ever played in front of, and it was still like 50 people, maybe, you know. But it was a lot of fun.
I miss those days.
Yeah,
just going to like so downtown Boise has this place called Pingilly's, and it's called Pingilly's Saloon, and when I still lived there, I can't remember if it was Tuesday or Thursday night, but it was like folk night. And then the other one was like open mic night, and I used to go to those shows all the time just because like I love that smaller, like intimate atmosphere, and
Mm-hmm.
like being able to sit at the same table as maybe the person who just performed, and just being like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I really like your stuff, and just like having those conversations, like those were always really fun. So
Yeah, and I never I that was my introduction to music. I think when I talk to a lot of my friends about like what was your first show and stuff like that, they talk about like going to see Green Day or Blink-182, or like even when my
mhm.
friends saw NSYNC for his first band. And like my first band was at a venue that I like used to be across town that I played my first show at. So for
Yeah.
me, like music has always been about that more
Mhm.
unpolished, very intimate, amateur,
Yeah,
I've always found that that was very important, and so I've spent a lot
that's
of
awesome.
in
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
you've been doing it for a while.
too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, should we get into these comics that we read?
yeah, I was trying to think of a good segue
Mm,
other than let's talk about comics.
let's
But
talk
like
about.
just like it's been. I wish I could have gotten more comics this week because every time that I got to read a comic this week, I enjoyed it, and I was like,
Mm,
"Oh, it's so nice to like get this sweet relief." And
yeah.
yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
overcompensated. I'll go first. I do believe that's how
Yeah.
we
Go for it.
you do the intro. I go first. Um I feel like we just had like a nice sweet talk about music and all that stuff, and now I feel like we got to swing into fun comic book time. Gotta get that energy up. Here we go. Fun
Here we
comic book.
go.
Fun comic book. Um but I think we got some overlap this week. I think this first one we especially got um
Hmm.
Good Deeds, Dark Spaces, Good Deeds.
Oh man.
So
So I had asked my shop for that, but I asked late, so I think I might be waiting on it to come.
oh,
Um, but
no.
I was really hoping it was going to be there today, and it
I
wasn't.
was hoping it because we didn't jump on this. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. We didn't jump on Dark Spaces Wildfire by Scott Snyder.
Hmm.
And that was a really good ride. And we both really enjoyed it. After it was
Yeah.
wrapped up, we both went back and read it. This, I'm just like, I'm just gonna jump on from the go. It's not by Scott Snyder. It's by Jay Grayson, Chelsea Ramsam, and Rhonda Patterson, all of which I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm all in. I like Scott
Yeah.
Snyder. I like what he puts out. I like that the first arc, so I'll take it.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna get my hands on that for sure. I really enjoyed yeah, the Dark Spaces. What was it?
Wildfire,
Wildfire. Yeah.
fire,
I
fire.
really, yeah, because I had just read that. I think what, last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that.
yeah, and
Time's
I
a flat
really,
circle.
it was just a great story. I'm glad I got to read it all the way through.
Mm, mhm.
Because I
Same.
think that's something that's been killing me so much lately with comics, is just like the gaps in between, like the
Mhm.
releases. And
Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's like cumbersome because again, I think it's part of it just because we read so much and like we don't have the greatest memories in the world.
yeah.
So I think like there's part of it where we're just like, I would love to just and again, we love stories. So I think
Mm,
I really do love reading comics for the art, but like most of the time I don't sit and like soak in the art as much as I should. I'm
yeah.
I'm mostly just like I want to know the narrative.
Yeah. No, it's
But
like, but there have been comics though in the past where I have completely but just been drawn in by the art. Um,
can I guess which one was? And
I
that'll
mean, yeah,
segue.
there's an obvious one, but there's others as well.
I was gonna. I'm assuming you meant a righteous thirst for vengeance, but I meant the
Yeah.
seasons have teeth. Number two.
Oh yeah.
Did you pick this bad boy up?
No,
Oh no!
because
I'm two
because
for two.
I know this is yeah, I didn't have that. I honestly didn't have that much, and then my shop didn't get all their orders in today. Part of their shipment was apparently lost, so
Oh no! That's
so
sad.
they're yeah, so they I'm gonna call them tomorrow and see if it came in, but I want to go look because yeah, the only things that came out that I saw today was mostly Marvel stuff, and then like the indie stuff. Um, no, so they did get Image, right? Because that's by Image. No, that's
Yeah,
Boom.
but oh wait,
Seasons
what I
Have
just
Teeth
did?
is Boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, so
But again,
Boom, there
I
was
don't.
nothing from Boom in the shop today, and there's usually
Mm,
something from Boom. So
okay, interesting. Well, hopefully that gets sorted out. But in the meantime, I'm kind of stoked on this. I've been really bad in the past of like, how do you say this? Like, there's some like novelty comics, I want to call them. Like, I picked up the
mhm.
Darkwing Duck comic and the Sonic comic, and
Yeah,
I never get all the way through, which is a shame because I pick them up because I want to read them, but then I think they just get swallowed up by other things. But this is my new one that I'm going to attempt to do. It is the Pumpkin King, or the
oh yeah,
Battle for Pumpkin King.
I got the free comic book day of that.
Oh, did you? Well, I paid
I don't know if it's like
$4.99
a
for it.
prelude or what. Like what I
Mm,
haven't read the free comic one yet, but I don't know if it's that one or if it's like a prelude to it.
right. Yeah, I was a young emo kid, so of course I loved The Nightmare Before Christmas. I guess I didn't even say that for those listening. This is Nightmare Before Christmas prequel, where it's
It's
the battle for the Pumpkin King. So how did Jack Skeleton become the Pumpkin King?
yeah,
Which,
that's awesome.
yeah, I'm very excited about it. I hope that I
I
read it.
I also love Nightmare Before Christmas, so maybe I should keep my eye out for that. That's like, that's the best holiday movie because you can start watching it when the holidays start with Halloween,
Hmm.
and then you can watch it all season long.
Yep.
And we probably watch it like 3 to 5 times every year during the holiday season.
Oh, that's fantastic. That makes me
Yeah.
really happy to hear it. Um, yeah, and so next I think are mostly no, I picked up some other ones that I haven't gotten before, but I've been waiting for this to come out. Junction Jones and the Corduroy
Mm,
Conspiracy #2.
yeah,
This was just a
because
fun.
I do
Oh,
recall you liking the first one.
I loved it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I am very much so looking forward to this, and just most of the first issue was spent in an alley, and I think it was kind of just setting up some of the premises of the world. But this seems like they're going places and doing stuff. The art is like super bombastic, in a good way, but it's still black and white, which I wasn't expecting that to change. Yeah, Scout comic might be my comic Sunday because I don't think I got any other Scout comics, which is fine. It happens to the best of us.
We don't always get a Scout comic.
We don't always get Scout comics. Get it? You don't always get what you want. That was
Hmm.
wow. Okay. Well, couldn't even tell you who that song's by.
Rolling Stones.
There you go. And this stone's gonna
No,
keep.
is it?
Oh, oh. You're gonna lose all your music cred on the internet, even though I'm the music. I mean, we're both
I know
musicians.
you can't throw something like Rolling Stones out lightly. It's
That's
just like,
true.
oh yeah, that's Rolling Stones. Oh wait,
How
is
about
it?
you Google it
Shoot.
while I talk about the gimmick #3. This is just like definitely been a comic that I've been casually enjoying. I won't say that I look forward to it every month, but like when it not I saw it today and I was like, oh cool. Um, I'm definitely teetering on it. I could fall off if this is bad, but if it's good, I think like I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Um, but like it hasn't
That's
sunk
kind of
its
what
talons
that's
too
kind of
far
what
in.
issue twos do for you, and like that's one of the benefits of being able to go to your shop and like they have it there already instead of you
Mm,
asking for it.
mhm.
Because you get to decide. Like issue two is a lot of times for me, like it's the sealer. Like yeah, I'm gonna stick with this. Like one and two were good enough for me to like want to finish it out.
Yeah. Well,
Whereas
that was
like
#3. So we're
oh
past
that
number
was number three. Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
But no, I mean, even so, like I think that applies around there too, because I think that early I was saying more so just for me of I'm not super sunk into it. I really enjoy it, but like I'm not drawn to it very heavily. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. And I kind of feel the same way about this next one, which is sad. I mean, I think I enjoy this one more. This is Mosley #4. I've definitely been like enjoying this, and it's very casual, but I felt pretty much the same way when I picked up that and gimmick. I was just like, or that and the gimmick, just being like, yeah, I've been reading them, might as well keep seeing where they're going. But I
Yeah.
wasn't like as excited as I was for
Well,
like
when
Junction Jones or yeah,
there
that's
was a lot of
about
buzz
it.
around Mosley issue one. I remember when that came
Yeah,
out, and
I mean it's
it's
been
one everybody
good.
says
Like again, these are good comics and I enjoy them. They're just not like ones that like I look forward to every
Hmm.
month, like I did for
Yeah.
like the whole Behemoth or Know Your Station, those kind of comics.
Hmm.
Um, or yeah, I mean some other ones we'll talk about later. But so this actually came out last week, and I've heard such good things about it that I decided to pick it up, which is the same thing I did with another comic we'll be talking about later. But I pick up Something Epic,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Good.
yeah.
Good for you.
So do you agree with the hype? I mean, we can, we'll get to
It's
that later maybe, but give me a little
it
preview.
is a. I'll say this. The story is the story does a really good job of bringing the hook of
Ooh.
like it's so did you read there's another one I have up on my shelf I probably won't talk about today, but Ghost Lore, you got that right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, I was on the fence about it, but yeah.
Hmm. Well, yeah, so Ghost Lore and uh good grief.
The comic Something Epic.
Something Epic, like, to me, both of them do just a really good job of like setting up what's about to happen.
Okay.
And like that's something I really appreciate in issue ones is like you feel like you know the characters by the end of it, and you've also come along with them on their short journey to now they
Mm,
have an issue that they're about to face, and that story is going to be told over the next few issues. And so like I'm not gonna say like either of these were like my favorite thing I read this week, but I really like you had said like you were glad you got time in this week
mm,
to like read comics because it was a busy week for you.
mhm.
Like I kind of on the same end. I wouldn't say I had a busy week, but I had like a leisure. Well, no, it was a busy leisurely week. I
There
was
you go.
like I had the weekend to myself, and but also Tears of the Kingdom came
Yeah,
out.
I was gonna say you can
Yeah,
tell the people at home what you lost yourself in.
yeah. So
I got a
I've
text
been
from you at some point during the weekend of just I would a man in ecstasy just being like, I love this game.
yeah. No, like it's a great game. So that it's been soaking up some of my time, but I made a rule for myself that I would read one comic a day. And so I stuck to that, and I've read one comic a day this week.
Nice. I
And
should get
yeah,
into that
so
habit. That's a good habit because I definitely could from like the pulls that I've been pulling like consecutively. I shouldn't have got
yeah.
this new job. I should have stayed more poor than I am. Um,
Hmm.
but I still got a couple more comics. Actually,
Oh yeah.
literally a couple more. Um, so two more. I pulled two number one. I pulled so many number ones this week. It felt like, which I'm nervous about because I'm like, oh, part of me doesn't want to enjoy all these comics because I don't want to have to commit to all these comics. But obviously, if we'll see what happens.
Hmm.
That's just somebody who's watching his wallet, not thinking about how potentially good Miss Truedale, the Fall of Hyperbola, from the world of Hellboy. I'm just realizing, so I probably won't understand much of this. So speaking of a comic,
Wait,
actually,
you just now came to understand that that's from
yeah, I
Hellboy?
was realizing
Yeah.
that everyone watched that happen in real time. Um, and also on that note, I would like to point out that last week I pulled A Legacy of Violence, which I thought was number one, and it was issue number 5.
Oh,
Um, so I was reading it and I'm like, this is really cool. I'm like, they drop you right in the middle of a story. There's like these characters know each other, something happens. I'm like, I was actually like genuinely like really into it, but I'm like, this
yeah.
doesn't make sense as like a narrative. I don't know what's happening.
Like as an
Um,
issue one, this doesn't make sense, but you
no, but as
you
an
came to
issue
realize
5, it
you
was
yes.
fantastic. Yeah, it was good. So I might have to go back and read all of A Legacy of Violence and not just issue 5 because I'm a
Yeah.
knucklehead. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna end up giving this away to somebody who likes Hellboy. So if you like Hellboy, give me a holler. I'll probably read it just to see if it's good, but um, yeah, I don't hang out in the world of Hellboy too much, which is a shame. Like that, it seems like
Yeah.
an interesting world.
I don't know. I've some things like I don't know. Hellboy and like Spawn have their fan base, right? But
Yeah.
like they're also not they're still not at like that high standard of like golden age superhero comics.
Yeah,
And
isn't that
so
interesting?
like, because like if you go back and like track the sales of like Spawn when Spawn first came out and Hellboy when Hellboy first came out, like the numbers were really really good for like the first 25 issues. And then it just started becoming like, okay, now we have to keep telling this story. And not, I'm not trying to dog on like the like this point after like 25 issues, but
Mm-hmm.
like the fan base starts to kind of like dwindle a
Mm.
little bit. So but like again, they I'm not trying to like downplay like their popularity, but like they don't hold like the superhero like torch in the way that like
Which
Superman and
again, like,
Batman and
is I think it might just
Spider-Man.
be time. I think it's just
Yeah.
because they're so relatively new, you know?
Like
Um,
one of the hottest comics you can own right now is actually Spawn #1. Like if you have a
yeah,
Spawn #1, like
I would
good
believe that.
good for you. Like
There you go.
I've
Go
been
claps.
trying to get one for about a year now,
How's that
and
going?
I mean I don't have one yet.
There you
So
go. All right, we've been going far too long on these pool box sections because we've been having such good little chats. But I picked up this thing. I don't know if this is an issue one or a whole comic, but it's a thick boy. Like it's
Mhm.
a small trade paperback. And it's from Damian Conley, who I've read other stuff by, and he's always very like dark and spooky, and this looks dark and spooky. Like all it is just, I mean, all of his work is just pretty much just shadows, and I'm not complaining because it's very
Mhm.
spooky and um ghoulish, if that's a word. But yeah, I mean, this just looks like one of those comics that I'll just enjoy the experience of reading it. And I don't know if it's, I don't want to read the pub sum, it's too long. But yeah, I'll definitely check back on that because I'm genuinely curious about that.
Right
But
on.
that is all my comics. I had
Nice.
10,000 comics.
Well, mine's not quite so thick today. I really only had 3 things that I
Hmm.
pulled, but then I also had a couple issues that I didn't get on release day come in as well. And then I also had another copy that was sitting there waiting for a new copy because it was like a very damaged copy.
Oh,
And so I had to wait on that. So anyway, I'll just get right into it. I got the finale here of Little Monsters.
oh, that's a dope cover
Yeah,
color, and the color on the cover
the
is dope.
color on the yes, all of the above. This is a great cover. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, that's well, I know you are, but listeners, if you're not familiar, that's Jeff Lemire and Dustin Newen. Uh, I've really enjoyed it. Monk dropped off of it, which is fine.
I hope it's
But
fantastic. I hope you get the best. I know I've dogged on it, but like in my heart of hearts, I don't
excuse
want
me.
anyone to not enjoy something that they enjoy, you know? So
Yeah.
like yeah, I hope this the way that you feel when I put down Behold Behemoth and I'm just like, ah, you
Hmm.
know, or
Yeah. No. So that's probably gonna be my first read of this week.
nice.
Masquerade's second arc began here with issue 5.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I don't really
that's a
remember that one.
yeah, that's Kevin Smith is writing that one.
Ah,
So and if you haven't read Kevin Smith's Daredevil run, read it.
I forgot to tell you, I got Minor Threats and I started reading it and it was very good.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
that's Patton Oswalt. Yeah.
Oops, I got them too confused. So put my foot on on the internet again.
Celebrities writing comics. It's kind of a
Yeah,
thing right now.
yeah, and
Um,
that's why what happened in my brain.
let's see. So what that was 1, 2, 3. Then the Nameless Terror #4 for Star Wars Adventure or High Republic Adventures.
Nice.
That came out. So this is the finale of this little arc, and this is something that was back ordered for me. Hunt Kill Repeat #2. They missed getting it on the day it released, so
And is
I
that
really,
Mad
really,
Cave?
yeah. This is Matt Cave. Yeah.
Wow.
So issue 1 came out like probably a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and I absolutely like loved it, and immediately told my shop I wanted it, but obviously I didn't ask in time for issue 2, so they had to put it on like the back order list or whatever. Also, another issue 2 that came for me today was The Neighbors #2.
Nice.
Yeah.
I honestly can't
And
remember if I read that or not. I
I
might
got
have
another
reviewed it on.
I got
Huh?
another number. I got another #2. Got a lot
Another
of
number
twos
two.
today.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't like planning on picking this up initially because I was just gonna wait to like read the like just catch up on Unlimited because it's Marvel. But I
Mhm.
got Guardians of the Galaxy #2, but I got this variant with Groot and Rocket on it that I really liked.
With like a Spider-Man powered something or
Yeah,
other.
so there's Spider-Man covers out right now that have to do with the Spider-Verse. So
Okay.
like I think like last week a She-Hulk one released, or maybe it was this week. I got I have it right here. I got the Daredevil one.
Oh, reach. Big
Uh,
stretching.
I'm just reaching the wrong
Wow, look at
spot.
that. You've got such an interesting it's like a filing cabinet of comics over there.
I apparently don't know where I put it.
Well, it's
Oh, it's right
okay.
here.
Oh, he found it. Wow. It could be anywhere. Oh, look at that. It was I saw that. I
Yeah,
love that. Oh, I'm
yeah,
so happy you found that.
yeah.
I
So I
did
was
see
like,
that. I'm so happy you own that. I want to own that. I might
I know,
that
isn't it
might be
rad?
it is rad.
It's super
Um,
rad.
what is
I
that?
got, I
Daredevil
got,
11? Just for those of you
yeah,
listening, check out
yeah.
Daredevil 11 because that
And
is a
I
dope cover.
ordered mine from the rad dude Frank.
Shout
So
out to Frank.
yeah.
Coming through
Uh,
with a rad comic.
and then another one I wasn't like planning on getting, but I did. For, and also the cover. It's a Scotty Young cover. Um, the Avengers #1.
Oh, that's very precious. Oh,
Yeah.
did so a new Avengers arc started?
Yep. Yeah. Found
Well,
that
there
out.
you go.
I just recently
That's
found that out earlier today. So
wow.
yeah.
Well, let me know how that is. Maybe I would love to jump in on the event. I really do like the Avengers, but I just can't do it. Too many stuff. I'm leaning on
It
Ross.
is. Yeah. We'll lean into Ross and his Marvel story times. But yeah, I like picking up Marvel #1s if like if I'm interested in it at all, I'll pick it up. And
Right.
but yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna keep going with like collecting like Guardians of the Galaxy, for instance. Like I picked up issue 2 today, but I just like I said, I really like that cover. But I
Yeah.
do want to read the series. I really like #1, but I'm just gonna cash in on that free month of Marvel Unlimited one of these days.
Nice. That's a good call. Well, hey pal, is it time to get into some of the features of the week?
We should do that. Um, do we want to start with our pals?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So our pal Jonathan Hedrick, he was a guest episode
That's a
25.
no. I have no idea. Not
Anyways,
that long ago.
it wasn't that. Yeah, I don't know. It was some interviews ago, and yeah, so he was on and he was promoting Dream Master, and the first arc, as far as I know, the first arc, issue #5, came out last week. I got mine in the mail. You picked yours up at your shop.
Yep. Which is
Um,
dope.
yeah, but he also had Quicksand #1 from Scout Comics come out, and it was just really cool for me to see him have two come out on the same day. Like
Yeah.
that's like really cool, and I hope I imagine it was exciting for him.
Oh yeah, I would imagine. I was googling some stuff to pull some like thumbnails for or clip art for our thumbnails and yada yada. And I saw this one article or interview with him that was like the hottest upcoming artist or something like that, or it was like hottest upcoming comic book writer. I've really undersold that, but like that's a great thing that people are recognizing is him as that. And like you said, like he had two out last week, and then he has another one, Capable #1, coming out this week. So
Is it
our
this week
pal is
or
just killing it.
is it this week or next week?
Next week, sometime
Next week.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking.
Either way, within a month of each other, 3 comics on the shelf. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. You
Yeah.
know?
But yeah, so Dream Master #5. As far as I know, like I said, like this was the end of the first arc. When he was on, he had told us there was already a second arc in the works. And you had mentioned to me backstage that like this one didn't feel like it was like a conclusive like thing to an arc.
Mhm. Which,
Um,
again, I knew that I think I knew that there was gonna be more,
yeah,
mostly just even because of the way that the story was going, it felt like it was gonna be, like, the drama was going to continue, the fight between good and bad, and the
mhm,
struggle to remember one's true self amidst, calamity,
yeah,
will continue.
yeah. excuse me.
You're excused.
Yeah, no, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the arc overall.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe just the first 5 issues I've really enjoyed. I just really like the whole concept of who Dream Master is, and
Mm-hmm.
that every time he like uses his powers, he loses a memory,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't have that many memories left. So you
Right.
know how many like times he's had to use his powers, and
Well, no, there's also like times in this where the dream is it I want to say Dream Eater. Is that it? Or what's the antagonist's name?
the Queen of the Night
Yeah,
or
there
the
we go.
Night Queen, or
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Um
yeah,
anyways, the antagonist uh she even says something along the lines of like you're remembering quicker now, you know? So I wonder if
yeah,
it's been a thing where like he's just forgotten a bunch of times and like he's fought back a couple times before and
hmm
like you've seen it in A Good Place, something
yeah,
like that, like he kind of just keeps getting rebooted and then
hmm
like just has to keep, oh yeah, wait, I'm realizing what the situation actually is. But going back to what you said about the like the arc overall, I think it's a really dope premise. Like, and I know
hmm
that like obviously we've had him on the show, so it's like we're partial to the gentleman, but like
hmm
even just the idea of a guy in a dream world who's trying to keep people safe while also trying to figure out who he is, and there's like um the antagonist in this gave me very like uh we don't kill spiders vibes. That was
Oh,
kind of like,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, just very like dark and just like the how do you say that? The embodiment of just evil, you know?
hmm
God,
Yeah.
We Don't
Because
Kill
she's,
Spiders is a great comic.
well, and like the Queen of the Night is also like she's trying to collect like human
Souls.
souls through
Yeah.
their nightmares, because the more she gets, the more powerful she is. And I think she's trying to come to like the real world.
Yes.
And
And
Dream
she's
Master
going
is trying to like prevent that from happening.
what
And
what I'll say is like how they explain like how Jonathan chooses to explain the narrative, I think is very original, and I
mhm,
really enjoyed the fact that like we got to understand who Dream Master is as he has gotten to experience that, but also because of
mhm,
the experiences that he's having with, you know, for the first 3 issues, it was all from the perspective, the issues all started from the perspective of the dreamer. And then in
yeah,
issue 4 and 5, it switched over more to the narrative of focusing on Dream Master.
yeah,
And I thought that was, I love how it set that up of kind of just like this figure that exists in this world. And then, I mean, all those characters got like are relevant at the end of this arc, let's say.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that that was great how he, you know, brought that full circle. Really, yeah, I think that that was, you know, fantastic.
Nailed it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited to see what the second arc looks like. Like if it's going to be
Yeah.
a similar thing, or if like I hope so, because I really like seeing different people's nightmares. You know, that's what I really love about comics is like you get this chance to just tell like this crazy like story and like make the world like as like absurd as you want it to, you know? So
hmm
like that's what I enjoy about a silver
Sound
coin or
sounds
like,
like something epic.
oh, is it? I mean,
That's pretty much the premise of the protagonist is
okay.
everything. Uh, sorry.
We got a very
I
late
should I should I should yeah, I should not have like the comments on. I should, because I get so distracted by them.
it's okay. We'll jump over
Uh,
to it then.
yeah, go for it.
Or, okay. Dude, this is a very late comic, but folk punk is my shit. Where do you play in Philly? I'm originally from the city. I have mostly just been playing people's houses. I played a screen printing shop called Do It Now. But yeah, I'm very much in the DIY scene. One day I'll get into a bar or a venue or something in Philly, but for the most parts, I'm just playing people's backyards and houses and stuff. But again, check out Churches and Trains for all my folk punk endeavors. um, but yeah, so I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about this other than I really do enjoy the narrative, like how that's being told and webbed
Mhm,
into it. The art is really cool. I love the like just it's both like heavy and light at the same time. Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't feel like it's, like, one of those, like, I don't feel down after reading it, even though it is about a man, like, it's a very
Yeah.
sad thing, you
Well,
know?
that's one of the other things I really like about Dream Master is Luigi's art. Like it looks like you're peering into a dream world. Like
Mhm.
not just because of the things that are drawn, but just the way that he used the colors to make them kind of seem a little like hazy and purplish,
Yeah.
and like but like it's something, it's like a detail you really have to like look at, that I
Mhm.
really appreciate about how he's drawing this story up.
Yeah.
And it's really helped carry the narrative that Jonathan has written. Um,
Agreed.
but yeah, I guess though the art is by Luigi, but the colors are done by Ruben Curto.
Okay.
And
Nice.
but yeah, so yeah, they work. They apparently they work really well together in painting a dream world. Um,
You're
but yeah,
painting a
so
dream
John,
world.
yeah, but yeah, so Jonathan also had Quicksand #1 come out, and this, hey, it's Black Box Comics.
Hey, we just, if you saw my face of excitement when you came through. Thanks for stopping by. We just
Yeah,
finished,
thank you.
talking about Dream Master.
Which
Um,
is put out by Black Box Comics. So
yeah,
thanks
and
for
it's a
being
dang
here.
good comic.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so Quicksand #1 also came out by Jonathan. And I don't, do you want to kind of set it up?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't remember, like, any of the names of anybody or anything, but
Hmm.
the premise is that there is, what they called, I believe, like, the first event, right? Yeah, first event, that in the, outside of the, like, the pyramids, this giant sinkhole opened up, and these, like, very terrifying looking monsters. They look like bugs. I mean, I guess they are just like earth bugs. This isn't
Yeah.
spoiling anything. This is on the first page, but in
Hmm.
Egypt, these things crawl up out of the earth and just start terrorizing people.
And this intro was just fantastic.
Hmm.
Just the like, so that like you just showed the splash page of like the attack of these creatures that came up out of some hole in Egypt. and and then it became like the politics of it, like the aftermath of like humans. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Wow,
Do,
my screen just went black.
mine was
um
doing that earlier too. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
um but yeah, and I love that it came down to at the end of like the intro of just saying like some people think like that we did this, I think, and others just think that these things have always been here.
Mm,
And the one thing they all agreed upon was that we needed to fight back.
yeah.
And then
I thought that.
it jumps to the protagonist's story, and it was just such a brilliant intro.
Mhm. Honestly, the intro reminded me a lot of, Outer Spaced, number 1. Just, the threat shows
Oh
up,
yeah.
you kinda see how, like, the initial response to it, and now we're kind of seeing the second wave, or the kind of the after effects of that first initial event. So after that sinkhole opens up, after they decide to fight back, which again, I think is very brilliantly put, they
Hmm.
decide to send down into the sinkhole a team of kind of, the world's best, yada yada yada. And then I don't believe that it's never really said what happens to them, other than it's implied that the
They died.
they
It,
died.
yeah.
Um
And yeah, and then like that's kind of when the issue starts taking the turn into like the protagonist and how she's grieving because her husband was part of that crew. And then she also learns that another character had somebody else that was down on that crew that she has to work with now, and they just met, and she's all like fiery because she's like, I'm not here to like rest
Beat
and
around the bush.
like beat her. Yeah, like I'm here to accomplish this task.
Right.
And yeah, like, and yeah, the ending too is just really exciting. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait for issue 2.
Just to see how this goes. I love how, like, she's like, the guy's like, we need to get to safety, and she's like, we need to get, like, weapons or something like that. Like, you can't run
Yeah,
from this. You have to,
she's
like, just
no.
lean
He,
into it.
he said leave it to the professionals, and she said I am a professional.
Well, there, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I I really enjoyed it. Um, Yeah, and again, like, I just think Jonathan is so good at, like, developing concepts, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd love to
Um,
see that laid out here.
something else came from my library for me this week, and it was inspired because of Jonathan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because the library is a great resource, as he said, and he told us his story. I
That's
haven't
true.
opened the baggie yet,
Oh my
but
goodness.
I got 3 books about like making comics.
Oh, wow. That's funny
Yeah.
because I also reached out to him privately about buying books about, writing comics. Should we write a comic together? We'll call it Pullbox Pals. Wow.
A, a journey into the pullbox house.
Wow. It'll be like us fighting an alligator, and a
Yeah,
horse. We'll fight an alligator and a horse, the 2
yeah.
most natural predators to a comic book reader.
I mean, a horse is only natural. It's very fitting
Yeah,
to the
of
story.
course.
So
A horse, of course.
we'll get there. TB, TBA,
TBD, TBA,
TBD,
to be TBS,
to be determined and to
and
be
announced.
announced. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
we nailed
anything
that.
else you wanna say about, Quicksand?
Uh, no, but well, yes, I do. Yeah. So just if you haven't picked up anything by Jonathan Hedrick, just if you see his name on it, pick it up. I think we've collectively read pretty much everything he's put out, and he's just somebody that like I'm glad that we've met and kind of built a
Mhm,
relationship with, but also just kind of like minutely being a part of his like story as he
mhm.
continues to write stories. And so it's really cool to
I'm
just to
very
see
excited to
his
see
stuff
what
come out.
comes for him, you know?
Yeah.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
him to, yeah, just I think good stuff's a coming, so I'm
And
excited for the guy.
he's such a nice guy. He's so
Mhm,
nice. Um, but yeah. So we had one other comic that we both read this week, and you picked up issues 1 and 2 last week and got
I
caught
did.
up.
I sure did.
Uh, so my first question is, after reading issue 1, did you immediately jump to number 2? Were you just like, I can't wait, or like, how was that for you?
So, just in case you can't read our minds, we're talking about the nasty.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
never said it.
that's fine. Yeah, so I picked up, Nasty. So I started reading number 1 last night, and I finished it, and yeah, of course I see my monitors just shut off
I
too.
saw that. I
Interesting.
saw that happen.
Um, Weird. Anyways, so I started reading number 1 last night and then, uh finished it and then started reading number 2, but then I just got too sleepy and I was like, this comic deserves my full attention because I
Mm,
feel like I want to say this. This is like what my review for this comic is.
okay,
This is
let's hear
a
it.
this is a comic, you know?
This
Like
is a comic.
this is a
Yeah.
comic. Like, when I pick it up, it has very comic booky art. It has a very comic booky presence. I feel,
Mhm,
like, very happy when I read it, even though, like, it's about, like, something kind of spooky, and there is
mhm,
kind of, like, this looming threat, but yet I'm still like, "This is a fun time." Like, these are
yeah.
about, like, kids having a fun time, and,
Mhm,
um, I think I have an idea in my head where I want this to go that I think would be very special and precious. I don't know if that's the way that it's gonna go, but I am very excited to see where it goes because I feel like the idea in this comic is very original and they keep
mhm.
kind of, um, yeah, keeping me on my toes for sure.
No, like, yeah, it was really cool for me to like tell my brother-in-law about this series, because he like knew all about the actual like history of the video nasties,
Right,
and because he's a big horror buff,
right.
and so like he was kind of just like telling me what he knew about the video nasties and what this is in England and or just the British Kingdom or the not the United Kingdom,
The British
um,
Kingdom.
the Brit yeah,
I like that.
uh, but yeah, so he kind of like laid down like a brief history for me, and then I read it after that, and I was like, that was actually like really cool to like know how this kind of takes place in like an era that people can recall,
Mm,
and
mhm.
and they're just spinning this story of what Thumper is his name,
Yep.
and how he, even though he's technically an adult now going to college, he still has his imaginary friend that he cooked up from what it's from his favorite horror film that
Mhm.
he like watched as a kid, and And so like I didn't really know what was going to happen in issue 1. I thought it was going to be like more of a horror slasher, but the horror slasher is just the imaginary friend that
Hmm.
is starting to kind of take place in like the real world of the story.
Right.
And but
He's
this kid,
he's he's overlapping in a very interesting way. That's
yeah,
kind of part of what I'm excited to see how they kind of play that off. I don't want to spoil it because I don't want to say like this is my idea and then that be what happens, you know? So maybe I'll say it to you
yeah,
off mic. But yeah, I think it's very charming, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like I'm reading this and
yeah.
I think when you reviewed issue number 1, you talked about this, the fact that like you can see the this what's this? Red? Is that it? Ren?
Oh yeah, the imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Uh, I can't recall his name,
Anyways,
but
the imaginary friend, like, he's just doing stuff in the background. Like, he's just, like, like, as this kid's just talking, going throughout his day, like,
and
or
it's funny.
it is funny. It's very
Yeah,
funny. And so that's why I'm, like, kind of, like, tense when I'm reading it because 'cause I'm, like, waiting for, like, something bad to happen as I'm like, you know,
yeah. But
just
like,
chuckling along.
well, yeah, just for like as an example, was just like when Thumper and whatever friend he was with, they got ice cream,
Mhm.
and we'll call him Red just because it seems like a good name. And then Red also had an ice cream cone that he was licking,
Right, yeah.
and it makes you wonder, like, was that a real ice cream cone? And what, like, if nobody else can see him, but they got a real ice cream cone, would they see it floating? And so, like, yeah, you do kind
Right.
of like expect these things to happen out of the background with that character, but nothing's like really happened with him yet. But
Mm,
he's starting to like break that fourth wall a little bit.
right.
And but yeah, also just like the premise of this too, it's called The Nasty because Thumper and his friends got a hold of like the video Nasty of Nasties, and I don't know if this spoils issue 1, but basically they don't get to watch it. Something happens with the
Mm,
VHS tape that's pretty natural with VHS tapes. And so my
they
question
go out of
is,
style.
because it's more fresh on your minds, is is the intro of issue 2, is that Thumper doing what you do to fix VHS tapes, and then watching that one, and then
I don't know. I didn't,
because that's what I like, I was wondering when I read it, and I haven't like actually gone back to like look, like, did he actually get this tape and watch it?
oh, yeah, yeah, it looks like he's watching it, but as he's watching it, it looks like it's just, like, static and he's just smiling at it.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm very curious about the perception in this. Who's seeing what's gonna be seen where? Because 'cause they're also filming a movie. We haven't said that. They're filming their own video nasty,
yeah.
and they're yeah, and that's gonna play into some
Well, yeah.
stuff.
Well, because they had said that they were going to play the video that they had, but that video is ruined.
Right,
And so now Thumper is like kind of taking the helm of like, no, we're going to make our own, and it's going to be like the best horror movie.
right,
And like
which good luck.
that's kind of, but I don't like, again, like I don't, is that like, it's a great storyline, but like, is it just like a side storyline that we're kind of being led into thinking? Because yeah, again, going back to what they're doing with Red is, I really like how he plays into the panels,
Yeah.
and I am just on the edge of my seat wondering, like, is he gonna like come through and like
Mm.
become a slasher at some point? Like, is he gonna show
See,
up at this?
I
Yeah,
think that that's the way that they think it's gonna go. Again, I don't wanna say where I think it's gonna go, but I think that
yeah,
that's the way that you would think that it would, because that's the way that I thought it was gonna go. I was gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's gonna really kill these kids or whatever," but I don't think that that's he seems to actually care about Thumper,
yeah,
and, like, I would imagine in Thumper's friends as well, you know?
yeah.
Um, so, yeah,
So either way, I'm excited to see how Red plays into Thumper and his friends and them
agreed,
making this movie. So yeah,
agreed.
that's, if you're not reading that, like, that's on my recommended list. Yeah, I think issue 3 will be out next month. I don't know what week, but I'm really enjoying this series.
Yeah,
And you
same.
got anything else you want to say about it?
No, I'll hold my
Cool,
peace.
cool. Well, did you read anything else this week?
I did, uh, Mr. Mad. In fact, I read something this week that I was so influenced by that I made something.
Mm.
Okay,
Did you write a
so
full punk song?
no,
Ah.
close. But the comic that I am talking about is Banshee #2, and it is my
Banger of the week.
Heyo.
I hope that came through. Yeah, it's my banger of the week. I don't have it here because it's up on my wall because it was such a good comic. Like I said last week, that I was like, for some reason, really looking forward to this comic. I enjoyed issue #1, but like for some reason, the anticipation was just like building up within me. This like the couple weeks prior to, I'm like, man, I really want to like see where that was going. And then I read this issue, and it picks up like right where it left off, and like I won't spoil it, but the ending I just didn't see coming like at all.
Mm.
Like, and it was just so great to be like that. Blindsided by a comic.
Yeah.
You know, we read a lot, and so it's kind of easy to fall into tropes and stuff and see where things are going. But this definitely like just kind of knocked me through a loop.
Hmm.
But okay, so the premise is that this girl is going to a college where there had been murder. In the past, there was 3 girls who were murdered there on campus, and their spirits are said to haunt the hallways. So this girl, she's
Sorry,
exploring
what is it called again?
Banshees.
Banshees. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
From Scout Comics. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So she goes looking for him, and the end of issue #1, she finds him. So there's like one of the last things you see is like 3 like banshee looking things, like 3 ghouls, like 3 spirits. And then
Mm.
when this issue picks up, it's kind of from the perspective of the 3 spirits, except they're just 3 like teenage girls. So it's very much you just having like these college girls that are all hanging out together, but they're all dead, and they're aware that they're like spirits remaining behind. And then from where that kind of sets up the end of issue #1. So then the main character walks in, and she does the same thing because well, it is the same thing just from a different perspective. She doesn't see that they're just like normal girls, and they just like to her they appear as like banshees. And
Mm.
I think that's really cool that like behind this there's actually just normal people or whatever, and it just visual, it's like appearing or like manifesting as like a banshee or whatever through like that interdimensional space. And
Yeah.
yeah, super interesting premise. The hook that was at the end was just fantastic, and I'm in. I'm very excited to see where the rest of
Um,
this goes.
and kind of speaking of Scout Comics, I might be able to save my Scout Comics Sunday because of that new app that Kyle's real excited about.
Yeah, over at the comic book layer. I can't remember the name of the app.
I can't remember the name. I downloaded it on my iPad. My iPad's currently dead, but
Oh no.
yeah, they have Image, I think, and they have Scout, uh, at
Maybe
least
some
Image
other
and
ones.
Scout. But there's probably at least 7 publishers that'll have digital comics on there, and
Nice.
like yeah, and you can get your comics digitally there. Like I haven't explored it too much, but I might be able to save my Scout Comics Sunday.
That'd be pretty dope. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have anything else I want to say about it. It was just a dang good comic. So, how about
Nice.
you? Did you get into anything else?
Yeah, and just to kind of save time, I'm not gonna go too in depth on a couple of these. Just I read Old Dog #4 and Samurai Doggy #6. I'm both really enjoying like both of these stories.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like and yeah, Samurai Doggy's just going in a way that like I wasn't really expecting, and it's just really exciting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to issue 7. Old Dog is just like Old Dog is everything you would want it to be. It's just like an
Oh.
old CIA agent who's
Hmm.
back on missions, and he's finding out that the government may have done something to him to help his physique. And it's just been really exciting and fun as he kind of explores like who he is now. Um,
As an
but
old dog.
but yeah, my comic that I would probably place at my if you want to hit the button.
Yep.
Banger of the week.
was something epic. Kind of talked about it earlier.
Mhm.
The whole premise of it is just like fantastic to me. It reminded me a bit of Crossover, which is something I recently read. Just in that, like, so in Crossover, the comic book characters like essentially get a portal into the real world.
Mhm.
But this the protagonist of Something Epic is this kid named Danny Dillon, and he was diagnosed with an overactive imagination, and that's like why he appears to not care at school but still does
Mhm.
really well.
Mhm.
But like everything he's ever imagined, and I think even things other people have imagined, he can see them.
Interesting.
And he talks about like
Mm.
just how all like so much of our perceptions are just like dulled,
Mm.
and like kind of goes into like, there's animals that have a sense of smell that's 100 times better than ours. Some of them have a better sense of feeling, like, just talking about like the senses. And he said, but like we all do have like this sense of an active imagination, but for him, because he has an overactive imagination, he can actually see the things that he imagines. And I think
Mm.
he can kind of play into those. But it's also set up this kind of background story as well, where like we know from the get-go that he's being raised by a single mom. It hasn't really said, like, I think we know that his dad has passed away, but we don't know like why.
Mhm.
um, but his mom at the end has a doctor's appointment, and like that she's going to before she drops him at school. And then instead of going to school right after that, she just goes home, like takes him home, and she's like, no school today. And then he finds her like doctor report and is like
Mm.
looking at it, and like the last line is like, whatever hope I had, I don't think there's any more of it. And like
Oh.
that's where like the issue like ended. But like there's also just, and then there's this other character introduced too who seemed to know that the boy can see things.
Mm.
And so there's just, it did a really good job of just like setting up like the excitement of what is coming, no matter like how like, joyful or like melancholy it could be. The story itself, just with this play on like that he can see all these imagined characters, it it makes it live up to its title of Something Epic. So I'm really excited to get into it. I really like the cover that I got for it. I showed this last week. I'll show it again, but it's a play on Terminator.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
That was at my shop as well. But I think I just got the standard cover.
The standard one's super rad too.
Yeah.
But I
I'm
don't
definitely going to be diving into it. I'm tempted to dive into it tonight, but I honestly kind of want to dive into the Nightmare Before Christmas one first.
yeah. Read what you
But
want first, man.
yeah, and because also it's kind of one of those things where I'm getting tired, and so I'm just like, I'll just read this one about a pumpkin. That sounds like a comic that like fully deserves my attention, you know?
Yeah. No, it does, because you've been a fan for a long time
No,
since.
I meant of something epic. Oh, we got a
Oh,
cover
okay.
from our outer space, the comic. In something epic, it's also pretty interesting that they use the back cover as an actual comic page,
Yeah.
like that book
So
a lot.
so
Eh,
if you picked it up, I can't show you because I board and bagged it and I don't want to take it
I
out.
have mine.
Um, but yeah, on the back is actually the last page, like the last panel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I may have like misquoted it, but it was something along those lines.
Oh yeah, look at that. Over the next 3 months, whatever hope I had would be gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's what it was. Yeah.
there's a little butterfly flying away to represent his innocence and his hopes. But
And I like really like that they did that, because like I read that first, like I looked at the back cover before I opened it up, and like I read that and was
mm,
like, oh, I wonder if this is like where this story ends, or if this is like, I don't like I didn't think much of it other than like, oh, they put a panel on the back page, but is that the conclusion to the end of the story? Which
right.
it was. But
I think that that's dope because it's like literally like as you're reading it, you're flipping through and then you're just like, there it is, you know?
yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So yeah, get into that one. And
You got it, boss.
yeah. But yeah, that's kind of. I mean, I think I read a couple other things. I had some catching up to do. Like I think I also read All Eight Eyes this week. I really like that.
Nice.
Just I might reread it again before the second one comes out, but I did enjoy it. And what else?
Anything
I guess
else?
that's it. That was it. That was the only
Speak
other
now
thing.
or forever I was gonna say horse your pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Speak now or forever horse your pieces. Wow, I'm brilliant.
You got the horse in there real well today.
I did. But yeah, you want to saddle up this horse and ride us on into town?
Well, just so I can finish the embarrassment of myself questioning if it was the Rolling Stones, and yes, it is. It is the Rolling Stones who sing. Can't
You
always get what you want.
But baby, if you try sometime, you get what you give. All right, that's enough
Like
of that.
I'm mad at myself for doubting myself, is what I'm trying to say. But that's all right.
No, I mean that's
that-
fine. The Rolling Stones is generic enough of an answer to question.
Yeah, it was Rolling Stones. But yeah, if you're looking for us outside of this podcast, you can find us on Instagram. That's probably where we're most active. We also have a bit up on TikTok and a bit up on Twitter, but we're not super active there. You can watch us here on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I really do think it's true wherever you listen to your pods at.
Yeah, because I listen to it on Podcast Nation.
Yeah, but whichever thing you choose, yeah, please follow us. Please subscribe and comment and hit that
Like,
thumbs up and ding that bell if you really want to be updated on our next episode.
yeah, turn on notifications. We do post like just clips of like tidbits from the episode. So if you don't feel like watching the whole thing, you just want to watch a little bit, there are video clips. Feel free to check them out. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're literally just the podcast, but just clips of them.
Yeah.
So we're also trying to do more video content on Instagram with some stuff and some books that we like, instead of trying to cram everything in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's always good to talk comics with you, buddy. You are sweet. Somebody is calling me over Facebook Messenger. Wow, what a way for me to just experience that just in my ears. I got a nice little jingle. Yeah, wow. Thanks, friend, for calling me. Good. Well, I did. I probably didn't even have to mention it, but I just want everyone to know that if they want to call me over Facebook Messenger, I'm not going to answer. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and for watching. Episode 50 next week. We don't have a guest. We normally try to have a guest every 5 episodes, but between me and you, Mark, I think we might have something in the pipeline figured out.
Yeah, this might be a 6-issue arc.
Oh, that was I love that. And on that note, I haven't read comics like these in years.